Welcome back. Tonight, we drift through the sleepy streets of Lisbon. So wherever you are, however your day has been, you have nothing to do now but rest. There are no twists tonight, nothing to follow, nothing you need to remember in the morning. A city of ochre walls and patterned stone, softening in the last of the golden light, will drift slowly, in no hurry to be anywhere at all. If these journeys help you rest, you're welcome to follow along, but only if you'd like to. And if you're listening now, leave the name of your city and the time where you are. Wherever you're listening from, you're in good company tonight. So let yourself settle. Let your shoulders soften, and let your eyes close whenever they're ready. Breathe in slowly, and let it go. There's no need to stay awake for any of this. Just let the streets of Lisbon come to you. The Lisbon you encounter today was preceded by another city entirely, a place of tangled, labyrinthine streets that formed a maze of shadow and stone. This medieval world vanished on a holy day in 1755, when a cataclysmic earthquake did more than merely destroy buildings. It effectively erased an entire way of life. In the devastating aftermath, a new vision was imposed by the Marquis of Pombal, who perceived the rubble not as an ending, but as a profound opportunity for a new beginning. Upon the flattened earth of the bica district, he superimposed a rational grid, replacing the ancient, chaotic maze with straight lines and open squares. This was a radical act of creation born from catastrophe, resulting in an airy, logical city that rose from the dust as a deliberate choice. It was a decision to construct a future that bore no resemblance to the past, a choice you can still perceive today in the wide, orderly avenues of the city's heart. The seismic upheaval was merely the first stage of the city's profound trial, followed by a quiet dread as the sea inexplicably receded from the shore. When the water returned, it was not as a tide, but as an immense wave, a tsunami that surged up the Tagus estuary with unimaginable force. This wall of water was what truly obliterated the old waterfront, sweeping away the opulent Ribeira Palace, the seat of kings, and a symbol of a global empire, in a matter of moments. The immense concentration of wealth and power on the shoreline vanished beneath the waves, a second, decisive blow that compelled the city's planners to rethink their entire approach. They came to understand that the immediate edge of the water was a place of profound danger, not just boundless opportunity. Consequently, the commercial and political heart of Lisbon was relocated further inland, rebuilt with a new and hard-won reverence for the sea's destructive power, a necessary retreat for the city's very survival. Although King Jose I survived the earthquake physically, something essential within him was irrevocably broken, leaving him with a deep and paralyzing fear of being indoors. This severe claustrophobia meant he could no longer bear to live within stone walls, a profound challenge for a reigning monarch. A new kind of palace was therefore imagined, one that could soothe the king's trauma. On the high hill of Aqueducts, overlooking the ruined city, a complex of luxurious wooden pavilions was constructed, designed like grand, elaborate tents to feel open and impermanent. The entire royal court relocated with him, a move which shifted the center of gravity of Lisbon's power structure. This personal trauma of one man thus led to a fundamental change in the city's layout, as the royal presence on Aqueducts Hill eventually prompted the construction of the Grand Aqueducts Palace, a stone building its first royal occupant would never have inhabited. Long before any king or planner drew a single line on a map, the land itself had already determined Lisbon's destiny. A glance at a map of Europe reveals this geographic truth. The city sits at the very edge of the continent, the last major capital before the vast expanse of the Atlantic. For centuries this position marked the end of the known world, but for the ambitious mariners of the Age of Discoveries, it represented the perfect beginning. From this harbor, there was no need to navigate around other lands, or through rival waters. The path into the unknown was clear. This made it the most logical place to commence a journey down the coast of Africa, and then, daringly, out into the open ocean. This simple fact of geography afforded Portugal a crucial head start, establishing Lisbon as the natural launching point for an era of exploration that would reshape the world and bring unimaginable wealth back to its shores. The story of Lisbon is often told as a city built upon 7 hills, a description that is not merely poetic, but a physical reality that has shaped life here for centuries. This steep, rolling landscape is precisely why the city feels the way it does, as the streets outside the flat, engineered grid of the bica had no choice but to follow the contours of the land. They curve and climb, dip and twist, creating the organic, winding neighborhoods that define so much of the city's distinctive character. You can feel this topography in your legs as you walk through Alfama or Graça. While the hills certainly created challenges for builders and residents, they also created breathtaking views, dictating a picturesque and almost accidental beauty. This constant undulation is the fundamental rhythm of the city, a daily climb that connects its people to the very ground beneath their feet. To walk through the Alfama district is to navigate a living piece of history, its structure, a direct and tangible legacy of the city's Moorish past. The design of these streets was anything but accidental. The narrow, winding alleys were engineered to create cooling shade from the hot sun, while the sudden turns and hidden courtyards were conceived for defense, intended to confuse any invading force. When the Great Earthquake of 1755 struck, this tightly packed and resilient neighborhood, built on a high, solid hill, largely survived the devastation. While the grand avenues of a new city rose elsewhere, here in Alfama, the medieval city remained intact. It is a labyrinth, not merely of brick and stone, but of time itself, where you can feel the centuries in the cool air of the alleyways. a physical reminder of a chapter in Lisbon's story that was too resilient to be erased. Revolutions are so often narratives of violence and chaos, but the one that reshaped modern Portugal is remembered for its quietude and for a flower. In 1974, when the long-ruling Estado Novo dictatorship was overthrown by the military, the city held its breath, anticipating the inevitable conflict. Instead, something remarkable occurred, as civilians celebrating in the streets began to approach the soldiers. They carried no weapons or insults, but instead held carnations, which they began to place into the muzzles of the soldiers' rifles. It was a simple, yet profoundly powerful gesture, a symbol of peace overwhelming the instruments of war. This single spontaneous act gave the nearly bloodless revolution its name, marking a moment of gentle rebellion that allowed the country to step peacefully into a new, democratic future, a future that began not with a gunshot, but with a flower. By the end of the 20th century, a significant portion of Lisbon's eastern waterfront had become a scar on the landscape, a place of abandoned factories, rusting tracks, and polluted soil that the city had effectively turned its back on. Then came the 1998 World Exposition, which was conceived as more than just an event. It was a deliberate act of urban surgery. The city chose to use the fair as a catalyst for a complete transformation, clearing, cleaning, and entirely reimagining the derelict industrial land. In its place rose the Parque das Nações, the Park of Nations, a futuristic vision of sleek modern architecture, verdant green spaces, and public art. This ambitious project didn't just give Lisbon a new park, it gave the city a new, confident, and forward-looking face, proving that even its most forgotten places could be spectacularly reborn. For most of its history, Lisbon existed with its back to the south bank of the Tagus, the river, acting as a formidable barrier that made the land across it, Almeida, feel like a different world. This changed irrevocably in the 1960s with a single, monumental piece of engineering. The construction of the Salazar Bridge, later renamed the 25 de Abril Bridge, was a colossal undertaking. But its impact was more than merely physical. It psychologically stitched the two sides of the river together. For the first time, daily commuting from the South Bank became a realistic option for the masses, and this one bridge spurred decades of development in the towns across the water. It forever altered the city's daily rhythms, creating the steady flow of traffic that is now a fundamental part of Lisbon life, effectively redrawing the map of the entire metropolitan area. During the 16th century, Lisbon became fantastically wealthy, the source of this fortune being the perilous but incredibly lucrative spice trade, dominated by Portuguese ships. Spices like pepper and cloves were worth more than their weight in gold, and this immense river of money had to be channeled somewhere. In Lisbon, it was poured directly into stone, funding a new and uniquely Portuguese style of architecture, known as the manhole. You can see this style in the extravagant details of the Jerónimos Monastery and the Belém Tower, where the stone is carved with incredible intricacy, covered in symbols of the sea. There are twisted ropes, anchors, coral and other maritime motifs, as if the architects were transmuting the profits of the voyages into permanent, physical form. The buildings themselves became monuments to the discoveries, a story of global trade written in stone. For centuries, providing fresh water to a growing Lisbon was a constant and formidable struggle. The solution, completed in the 18th century, was the Aqueduct, a masterpiece of engineering whose elegant arches march across the landscape as a testament to careful planning. In 1755, the structure faced its ultimate test when the Great Earthquake leveled much of the city. The aqueduct, however, stood firm, suffering almost no damage. This incredible survival was not lost on the terrified citizens and planners, and the aqueduct became a powerful symbol of resilience, a proof that it was possible to build structures that could withstand the fury of the earth. The structural principles used in its design, particularly the strength of its arches, heavily influenced the new anti-seismic building codes for the city's reconstruction. It was a lesson in stone that helped Lisbon rise again. While the Bica district was being rebuilt on a rational grid, the planners had a different vision for the neighboring hill of Chiado. This area, also devastated by the earthquake, was to be reborn with a very specific purpose. It was intentionally designed to become the city's cultural and social heart, with new streets laid out to be elegant and fashionable, and spaces created for theaters, bookshops, and sophisticated cafes. This was a deliberate act of urban planning as cultural engineering, with the goal of attracting the city's artists, writers, and intellectuals, and giving them a place to gather, work, and exchange ideas. The plan was a resounding success, as Chiado quickly became the vibrant center of Lisbon's literary and artistic life. That identity, so carefully crafted in the earthquake's aftermath, remains a powerful current that still runs through the neighborhood today. History seemed to repeat itself in 1988, though this time with fire instead of an earthquake, as a devastating blaze swept through the historic Chiado district, gutting many of its most beloved 18th-century buildings. The city mourned the loss of its cultural heart, but the rebuilding that followed became a landmark moment for architecture. Instead of creating a perfect replica of the past, the project, led by architect Álvaro César Vieira, adopted a more thoughtful approach. The historic facades, the stone faces of the buildings, were painstakingly preserved and restored. Behind them, however, new, modern structures were carefully woven into the old fabric, creating a delicate conversation between the 18th and 20th centuries. This act of architectural layering resulted in a new Chiado, a place that respects its history without being trapped by it. The Carnation Revolution of 1974 not only ended a dictatorship, but also concluded an empire, as Portugal's colonies in Africa gained their independence. This geopolitical shift led to a profound change back in Lisbon, which saw a wave of new arrivals from Cape Verde, Angola, and Mozambique. These were not foreigners, but citizens of a collapsed empire, returning to a capital many had never seen. They brought with them their own cultures and rhythms, and soon, new sounds began to fill the air, music with different beats and instruments. New flavors appeared in small restaurants, dishes with unfamiliar spices and ingredients. This migration profoundly reshaped the city's cultural landscape, adding new layers of identity, sound and taste to the old European capital, making it a more complex and vibrant place, as the city absorbed these new energies and was forever changed by them. In 1807, as the armies of Napoleon marched on Lisbon, the Portuguese royal family faced a stark choice between surrender and escape. They chose escape, but on a scale previously unimaginable in European history. In an unprecedented move, the entire royal court, thousands of nobles, administrators and their families, boarded a fleet and set sail for Brazil, taking the treasury, the archives, and the government with them. For 13 years, the capital of the Portuguese Empire was not Lisbon, but Rio de Janeiro. This extraordinary event created a power vacuum in Lisbon, leaving the city to fend for itself under French occupation, and then, British protection. When the king finally returned, the relationship between the colony and the mother country had been permanently altered. The Great Escape had saved the monarchy, but it also set in motion the eventual loss of Brazil. The sound most deeply associated with Lisbon, the mournful music of fado, was not born in palaces or grand concert halls. It emerged from the city's working-class heart, from the rough port-side neighborhoods of the 19th century, the world of sailors, dockworkers, prostitutes, and fishermen. It was a life defined by hardship, by long departures and uncertain returns, and the music that grew from this soil was filled with a deep, untranslatable longing the Portuguese call saudade. This feeling is a complex sense of melancholy, a nostalgia for something lost, or perhaps never even possessed. Fado was the authentic voice of the people who lived by the sea, its soul shaped by the constant presence of the water and the fate of those who traveled upon it. It is the city's blues, a sound of profound and beautiful sadness. The iconic yellow trams that crawl up and down Lisbon's hills are now a cherished symbol of the city, offering a charming ride for visitors, but they were never intended as a tourist attraction. They were born from pure necessity in the early 20th century, when the city needed a way to move its people through its unique and challenging terrain. The hills were too steep, and the streets of the old neighborhoods too narrow and winding for conventional transport. The tram was an ingenious solution to this very real problem, as these small, nimble vehicles could handle the sharp turns and the punishing gradients with ease. They were a piece of practical public infrastructure, a clever answer to the city's difficult geography. The fact that they are also beautiful and beloved is a happy accident, as they continue to perform their original function today, a moving monument to clever design. Ultimately, Everything about Lisbon's history and identity comes back to the water. The city exists where it does for one fundamental reason: the Tagus estuary, which is not merely a river mouth but one of the finest natural harbors in the world. It is deep, sheltered and so vast that it has its own name, the Mar de Palha, or the Sea of Straw, a name derived from the golden sheen of the water at sunset. This perfect port was the city's destiny, offering safe anchorage for ships returning from treacherous voyages and a gateway to the Atlantic for those setting out. Without this calm, wide body of water, there would be no compelling reason for a major city to be here. It was the inevitable center for a maritime empire, the geographical feature that made everything else possible. The city is in essence the child of its harbor. For centuries, the immense wealth of Brazil had flowed into Lisbon, funding its grand buildings and imperial ambitions. But in 1822, that flow was abruptly cut off. When Brazil declared its independence, the empire's most valuable colony was lost, an event that sent a shockwave through the old capital. The loss of Brazil triggered a long period of economic and political decline, as the city found itself diminished on the world stage, grappling with a new, more modest identity. The 19th century in Lisbon was a turbulent time, marked by political instability and a struggle to find a new purpose. This is reflected in the city's development during that era, which saw fewer grand projects and more modest, sometimes chaotic growth. The city spent a century coming to terms with its faded glory, a struggle that left its own quiet marks on the streets. Architecture can be a form of communication, a method for those in power to send a distinct message. During the long years of the Estado Novo dictatorship, this idea was put into practice on a grand scale, with the regime using a severe, monumental style of architecture as a form of propaganda. You can see it clearly in the Praça do Império in Belém, the vast plaza that fronts the Jerónimos monastery. The clean lines, the immense open space, and the imposing scale were all meticulously designed to project an image of power, order, and imperial strength. The style deliberately harkened back to Portugal's 16th century Golden Age, a glorious past that the dictatorship used to legitimize its own rule. These buildings were not just structures, they were political statements, an attempt to build a national myth in stone and concrete. In the late 15th century, a vibrant and essential part of Lisbon's community was systematically erased. The city's Jewish population, a cornerstone of its merchant and intellectual class, was given a terrible choice: convert to Christianity, or be expelled from the kingdom. This act of intolerance had profound and lasting consequences, dealing a severe blow to the city's economy by removing many of its most skilled financiers and traders. An entire community with its own traditions, schools and places of worship simply vanished as synagogues were torn down or converted. Today, only the faintest traces of this once thriving community remain, found in the names of streets like the Rua da Judiaria, the Street of the Jury, in the Alfama district. It is a quiet, almost invisible memorial, a name on a wall that hints at a deep and painful absence in the city's story. After the 1755 earthquake, the planners of the new Lisbon were obsessed with one question: how to prevent such devastation from ever happening again. Their answer was an ingenious piece of hidden technology called the Pombaline cage. This wooden framework, a flexible, interlocking skeleton of timber, was built into the masonry walls of every new building in the bica district. It was designed to sway and dissipate the energy of an earthquake, allowing the buildings to bend rather than break under seismic stress. This internal cage is the reason the district has such a unified and resilient character. It is an invisible innovation, a secret skeleton hidden within the stone and plaster. While the beautiful, uniform facades of the bica are what you see, this hidden wooden frame is what has kept them standing for over 2.5 centuries. The historic waterfront of Lisbon, with its stone quays and grand squares, was constructed for a different era of shipping, one of sailing ships and small steamers. By the late 20th century, global trade had been revolutionized, now moving in massive steel boxes, carried on enormous container ships that required deep water and giant cranes. The old city waterfront could no longer accommodate these modern behemoths. Consequently, a new port was built further down the river at Alcantara, a decision made not by chance but as a direct response to the new demands of global logistics. This move shifted the city's economic center of gravity, as the working heart of the port moved away from the city center, leaving the old waterfront to be gradually transformed into a place of leisure and tourism. The city adapted, as it always has, to the changing tides of commerce. The Chiado fire of 1988 was far more than just a destructive event. It was a profound cultural trauma for Lisbon. The flames didn't just consume buildings, they devoured beloved institutions, turning historic department stores, legendary cafes, and generations of memories into ash. In the days that followed, the public reaction was one of deep and genuine grief, with people gathering to stare at the smoking ruins, as if they had lost a family member. The intense debate that erupted over how to rebuild was telling, as it revealed just how much these commercial buildings were woven into the city's living identity. They were not just places to shop or drink coffee, they were part of the collective memory, the backdrop to countless lives. The fire demonstrated that a city's soul can reside in the most unexpected places, even in a department store or a favorite old cafe. It is impossible to imagine Lisbon without its tiles, the decorative ceramic squares, or azulejos, that cover the facades of so many buildings and form the city's most defining feature. Their origin, however, was more practical than artistic. The tradition was imported from the Moors, who used tiles to help keep buildings cool in the hot sun, a clever and functional solution to the southern climate. Over the centuries, however, this practical element began to evolve, as artisans started painting them with intricate patterns, scenes from history, and beautiful geometric designs. The tiles became a canvas for the city's creativity. What began as a form of architectural air conditioning was transformed into Lisbon's most widespread and democratic art form. A beautiful skin that tells the story of the city, one small blue and white square at a time. Upon entering the church of the Geronimos monastery, one's gaze is inevitably drawn upward, often with a sense of disbelief. The ceiling is a vast and intricate web of stone, a massive vault that seems to defy all laws of gravity. It should feel heavy and oppressive, yet it feels as if it is floating. This is the magic of the manualine style, where the entire weight of the roof is supported by a few impossibly slender columns. These columns rise from the floor like stone palm trees, branching out at the last moment to support the delicate tracery above. While the design was an engineering marvel, its purpose was deeply spiritual, intended to create a sense of divine lightness and lift the eyes and the soul towards heaven. It is a forest of stone, a space that feels both monumental and miraculously weightless at the very same time. The Berlin Tower is a fortress adorned with beautiful, intricate details, most of which are conventional symbols of power and faith: crosses, royal emblems, and armillary spheres. However, if you look closely at the exterior of one of the watchtowers, you will discover something entirely unexpected. Carved into the stone is the small, sturdy head of a rhinoceros, a strange and wonderful detail that commemorates a real event. In 1515, an Indian sultan gifted a living rhinoceros to King Manuel I, the first such creature to be seen in Europe since the days of the Roman Empire, and it caused a sensation. The animal became a celebrity of such renown that its image was immortalized here in stone, a permanent and peculiar tribute to a brief but memorable visitor. It remains a small, whimsical secret on a monument built to celebrate a global empire. For most of the year, it is just another manhole cover on a busy street in downtown Lisbon, but for a few days, usually in September, it becomes a portal to another time. When the cover on the Rua da Conceição is lifted, it reveals a staircase leading down into the darkness, the entrance to the Galerias Romanas, a network of tunnels built by the Romans 2,000 years ago. The entire structure is flooded for most of the year, a hidden underground river, but once annually, firefighters are called in to pump out the water. For a very short time, the public is allowed to descend into this buried city, to walk through the stone-arched corridors that once served as foundations for the buildings above. It's a brief, ritualistic uncovering of a secret world, hidden just beneath the city's feet. The elegant neo-Gothic iron tower of the Santa Justa lift is one of Lisbon's most famous landmarks, and it's easy to assume it was built as a decorative folly or a tourist viewpoint. Its origins, however, are entirely practical. At the turn of the 20th century, the lift was a serious piece of public transportation, designed by a student of Gustav Eiffel to solve a real urban problem. how to get people from the lower Bica district to the higher Lago do Carmo without a long, steep walk. The original steam-powered elevator, with its polished wood cabins and intricate ironwork, was a state-of-the-art solution. It functioned as a vertical street, a vital link in the city's transit system. Today, it still performs that function, but it has also become something else. A beautiful, moving piece of industrial architecture that has outlived its purely functional purpose. On All Saints' Day in 1755, the Carmo Convent church was filled with worshippers when the great earthquake struck, causing the heavy stone roof to collapse and destroy the building. In the subsequent rebuilding of Lisbon, a powerful and deliberate decision was made regarding this particular ruin. While the walls were stabilized and the ground was cleared of rubble, the roof was never replaced, leaving the great Gothic arches open to the sky. This was not due to a lack of funds or ability, but was a conscious choice to let the roofless church become a permanent memorial to the earthquake, a haunting and beautiful reminder of that terrible day. Today, it stands as the city's most poignant monument, where the blue sky and passing clouds serve as its ceiling. It is a space of quiet contemplation, a church that finds its beauty not in completion, but in its deliberate, graceful ruin. The buildings of the Bica district appear solid, uniform, and constructed entirely of stone, but hidden within their walls is a secret technology that makes them unique. It is called the gaiola pombolina, or the pomboline cage. After the 1755 earthquake, the city's builders developed this pioneering anti-seismic system, which consists of a flexible wooden framework, an internal skeleton built into the masonry of each building. This cage is designed to distribute and absorb the shock of an earthquake, allowing the structure to sway and bend without collapsing. It is the unseen hero of Lisbon's reconstruction, a brilliant piece of engineering that is completely hidden from view. You cannot see it, but this wooden skeleton is what holds the historic downtown together, a silent, resilient protector hidden within the plaster and stone. Stretching over 17 kilometers across the Tagus estuary, the Vasco da Gama Bridge is a celebrated marvel of modern engineering, its graceful curve a familiar part of the Lisbon skyline. Its most impressive features, however, are completely invisible. The bridge was built in a region with a known history of seismic activity, so its designers took no chances, engineering it to withstand an earthquake 4.5 times stronger than the devastating quake of 1755. To achieve this incredible resilience, its foundations had to be sunk deep into the soft riverbed, with massive pillars anchored by piles that extend as far as 95 meters below sea level. This incredible feat of unseen engineering is what holds the bridge firm, a quiet testament to the lessons of history and a structure built not just for the present, but for a potentially violent future. The Great Aguas Livre Aqueduct was constructed to carry water into the city, and its long journey terminates at the mended Agua Reservoir, which is no ordinary water tank. To step inside is to feel as though you have entered a flooded temple. The space is vast, calm and unexpectedly beautiful, a grand hall of stone columns and vaulted ceilings filled with a serene ethereal light. The water it was built to hold collects in a shallow, crystal-clear pool that covers the entire floor, its surface perfectly still, creating a flawless mirror that reflects the monumental architecture above it. This is a piece of public infrastructure that transcends its function, a place of profound tranquility, and a hidden sanctuary, where the city's water comes to rest before continuing its journey. It feels less like engineering, and more like art. As you walk through the older neighborhoods of Lisbon, if you let your eyes drift up the sides of the buildings, you might begin to notice them. Ghost signs. These are the faint, faded remains of hand-painted advertisements from another era, perhaps a name for a brand of coffee that no longer exists, or a promotion for a pharmacy that closed its doors decades ago. The sun and rain have bleached them into pale whispers on the plaster, a fragile, papery layer of the city's commercial past still clinging to the present. Each one is a small mystery, a clue to a story you can no longer fully read. They are not preserved in a museum but are left to fade slowly, a quiet, accidental archive of the city's ever-changing life. A bridge is often thought of as a silent, solid structure, but the 25 de Abril Bridge, Lisbon's iconic red suspension bridge, is not silent at all. It sings. As cars and trucks drive over the main roadway, their tires pass over an open steel grid, and this interaction between rubber and metal creates a constant, distinctive humming sound. It's a deep, resonant tone that rises and falls with the flow of traffic, an acoustic byproduct that was not a planned feature of the bridge's design. For the people of Lisbon, however, it has become the voice of the bridge. It is a soundscape that is deeply familiar, a constant, audible presence that lets you know the city is moving. It is the sound of 1,000 daily journeys, woven into a single steady song. The National Tile Museum is, unsurprisingly, the best place in the world to see Portuguese azulejos. But the building that houses the collection is an extraordinary exhibit in itself. The museum is located in the former Madre de Deus convent, a building with its own rich history, where you can wander through quiet cloisters and chapels, filled with stunning examples of tile work from different centuries. The journey culminates in the convent's spectacular Baroque church, and to step inside is to be overwhelmed by beauty. Nearly every single surface, from the floor to the ceiling, is covered in a breathtaking combination of gilded, carved wood, and brilliant blue and white tile panels. It is a space of incredible opulence and artistry, where the container becomes the most precious object in the collection. The church is not just displaying art, it is art. In the 1960s, a grand panoramic restaurant was built on a high hill in Monsanto Park, a futuristic, brutalist structure designed to offer the finest views of Lisbon. The restaurant, however, was a commercial failure and was soon abandoned, leaving it to stand empty for decades, a derelict concrete shell on top of the city. Nature and graffiti artists have slowly reclaimed it. The windows are gone, the walls are covered in vibrant murals, and the floors are littered with debris. Yet, the Panoramico de Monsanto has found a new life as an unofficial viewpoint and a beloved ruin. People climb through its empty halls to the rooftop, where the original promise is still fulfilled, offering some of the most spectacular, uninterrupted, and beautifully melancholic views of the entire city. Construction on the Church of Santa Engrazia began in the 17th century as a grand and ambitious project, destined to be one of Lisbon's great landmarks. The work, however, was plagued by delays, political turmoil, and a persistent lack of funds, causing decades to turn into centuries. The massive, domed building stood unfinished for so long that it became a running joke, and the phrase, Obras de Santa Engrazia, the works of Saint Engrazia, entered the Portuguese language. It became a common expression for any project that seems to take forever, and never gets finished. The church was finally completed and inaugurated as the National Pantheon in 1966, almost 300 years after it was started. It is a beautiful, magnificent building, but its true legacy might be the linguistic one it left behind, a permanent monument to procrastination. The LX Factory is one of Lisbon's trendiest creative hubs. A bustling complex of shops, restaurants and art studios, all housed within the shell of a much older place. This was once a 19th century textile manufacturing complex, a place of looms and laborers, and when the factory was redeveloped, the decision was made not to erase this industrial past. Instead, it was woven into the new design. The old brick smokestacks still tower over the site, and massive pieces of old machinery, too large to move, now sit like sculptures in cafes and bookstores. The raw industrial character of the original buildings has been preserved and celebrated, creating a place where you can sip a perfect coffee in the shadow of a giant flywheel, a living example of how the city's past can be repurposed to create a vibrant future. Lisbon's history is built in layers, and sometimes you can see them all at once. Tucked away behind an ordinary street in the Alfama district, a modern museum building stands over a remarkable secret, discovered during construction work: the ruins of a Roman theatre from the 1st century AD. Instead of removing them, the architects designed the museum around them, carefully excavating and preserving the ancient stone seats and stage foundations. Now you can walk through the modern museum space on transparent glass floors, looking down to see the 2,000-year-old Roman structure directly beneath your feet. It's a dizzying and wonderful experience, a physical conversation between the ancient city and the modern one, where you are standing in two moments in time at once, separated by only a few inches of glass. For many years, a certain street in the Caisto Sodré district was Lisbon's notorious red light district, a place of sailors, bars, and vice. In the 21st century, the city decided it was time for a change, and as part of a major urban renewal project, the street was given a radical and surprisingly simple makeover. The entire surface of the road and sidewalks was painted a bright, vibrant pink in a bold, theatrical gesture. This single act of branding, of literally painting the street a different color, was the tool used to signal a new identity. This I call Pink Street was born, and the old, seedy bars were replaced by trendy restaurants and nightclubs. The paint itself became the agent of change, transforming a place known for its shadows into one of the city's most colorful and popular nightlife hubs. The monument to the discoveries stands on the bank of the Tagus, a massive stone caravel crowded with the heroes of Portugal's age of exploration. And it appears to be a solid, imposing sculpture. This, however, is an illusion, as the monument is actually a hollow concrete building with an impressive facade. Hidden inside, there is a small exhibition space, and, more surprisingly, an elevator that takes visitors up to the very top of the monument, to a small viewing platform that is completely hidden from the ground. From this secret vantage point, you get a unique and stunning perspective, looking down on the river and the giant mosaic compass rose laid out on the plaza below. The monument is not just something to be looked at, it is a building to be entered and explored from within. Lisbon's steep hills demanded clever solutions, and besides the famous trams, the city built 3 funiculars, Gloria, Bica, and Lavra. These are not quite trams and not quite elevators. They are a unique hybrid, essentially tram-like cars, engineered to climb hills that are far too steep for a normal vehicle. They operate in pairs, with one car ascending while the other descends, their weight balancing each other out. As such an integral and unique part of the city's fabric, they have been classified as national monuments. They are not just public transport, they are a form of moving architecture, structures that are perfectly integrated into the streetscape. Their bright yellow bodies are a familiar and beloved sight on some of Lisbon's most picturesque and challenging slopes, the machines that tamed the hills. A river runs through the heart of Lisbon, but you will never see it. The Arroio stream once flowed openly through the city, a natural feature of the landscape, with banks lined by farms and small settlements. As the city grew in the 20th century, however, the stream became an obstacle, and was channeled into a massive underground pipe, a culvert, and buried. Today it still flows silently beneath the busy Avenida Almirante Reis, one of the city's main arteries, its existence almost completely forgotten, a secret held by the ground beneath the traffic and trams. The only public hint of this buried waterway is the name of a major metro station, Arroios, which was built directly above its hidden path. The river is gone from sight, but its name, and its water, remain. The brilliant white dome of the Estrela Basilica is a landmark in western Lisbon, visible from miles away, and from the ground, it looks like a solid, untouchable piece of architecture. It holds a secret, however, for those willing to climb. It is possible to ascend to the very top of the basilica, through a series of narrow, winding stone staircases and small passages hidden within the church's structure. These passages eventually open out onto the roof, where you can walk along a terrace that circles the exterior of the massive dome. It's an intimate and slightly dizzying experience to be so close to this monumental feature. From this privileged walkway, you are rewarded with an incredible 360-degree view of the city, a perspective shared only with the birds and the statues of saints. The walls of São Jorge Castle, which dominate the Lisbon skyline, are not what they initially seem. They are not the product of a single era, but a historical collage, a patchwork of different centuries. If you look closely, you can read the story in the stone. The oldest parts are the original Moorish fortifications from the 11th century, and built upon these are the heavier stones of the medieval Christian kings who conquered the city. Much of what you see today, however, is even more recent. During the 20th century dictatorship, the castle underwent a massive restoration, a heavily romanticized project that rebuilt the walls and towers to look like a fairy tale ideal of a medieval castle. It was an act of nation building, shaping the ruin into a powerful national symbol. The walls are a physical document, telling a layered story of conquest, decay, and reinvention. The massive roundabout at the heart of modern Lisbon is dominated by a tall monument to the Marquis of Pombal, the man who rebuilt the city after the 1755 earthquake. He stands, looking down the grand avenue he created, but directly beneath his feet lies a hidden world that is just as crucial to the life of the modern city. The entire roundabout is built on top of a complex, multi-level interchange, where two of the city's main metro lines, the blue and the yellow, cross paths. It is a bustling hub of tunnels, platforms and escalators, a subterranean heart that keeps the city moving. There is a quiet poetry to this arrangement. The monument to the man who planned the 18th century city sits directly above the modern infrastructure that allows his plan to function in the 21st century. In a city of grand bookstores and ancient libraries, one of the most remarkable is also the smallest. The Livraria do Simão is not much bigger than a closet, operating out of a former tobacco kiosk on a steep staircase in the Moreira district. The space measures just 3.8 square meters, making it officially one of the smallest bookshops in the world. To call it a shop is almost an overstatement. It is a literal hole in the wall, a tiny space crammed from floor to ceiling with thousands of second-hand books. The owner sits in the middle of this paper fortress, able to retrieve any title from memory. It's a testament to a love of books that transcends scale, a tiny charming pocket of literary magic, tucked into a forgotten corner of the city. The main arch of the Águas Livres Aqueduct is a monumental piece of engineering, soaring high above the Alcantara Valley. From the ground it appears as a solid, impenetrable structure, designed only for the passage of water, but it holds a secret path. Hidden from view, running along the very top of the aqueduct inside the main channel, is a public walkway. This stone corridor allows pedestrians to cross the valley, protected from the elements, while small, arched windows along the way offer stunning, unexpected views of the city. It is a remarkable feature, a path hidden within an aqueduct. For a small fee, you can walk where the water once flowed, experiencing this magnificent structure not just from below, but from within its very heart, a journey inside one of the city's greatest landmarks. The Callisto Sodre train station is a busy transit hub, a place of constant arrivals and departures, and it is also home to a Pingo Doce supermarket. This, however, is not your average grocery store, as it is located directly inside the station's grand, historic main hall. The effect is wonderfully surreal, with shoppers pushing their carts past displays of fresh vegetables and household products, all while under the gaze of soaring, ornate, 19th-century ceilings. The fluorescent lights of the refrigerated aisles compete with the grand arches and decorative ironwork above. It is a perfect Lisbon juxtaposition, the utterly mundane taking place inside the truly magnificent. It's a place where you can pick up milk and bread in a setting that feels more like an opera house than a supermarket, a daily errand elevated by the grandeur of the city's past. The story of Lisbon's most famous pastry begins not with a chef, but with laundry. At the Grand Geronimos Monastery, monks used huge quantities of egg whites for the practical task of starching their white habits. This mundane chore left them with a persistent problem: a massive surplus of egg yolks. Being resourceful and not wanting to be wasteful, the monks turned to baking, developing a secret recipe for a small, creamy custard tart that they baked to perfection. After the monasteries were dissolved in the 19th century, the recipe was passed on to a single family who opened a shop near the monastery. To this day, that original secret recipe is known by only a handful of people, and is sold exclusively at that one location, Pastries de Belém. It is a taste of history, a delicious legacy born from a simple laundry problem. In Lisbon, coffee is not always a leisurely affair meant for long conversations. There is a specific ritual, a punctuation mark in the day, known as the bica. It is a short, strong, bitter shot of espresso, similar to its Italian cousin, but the way it is consumed is uniquely Lisbon. You will see this ritual enacted in any local pastelaria, where people walk in, stand at the polished metal counter, and order a bica. It arrives in a small, thick-walled ceramic cup and is drunk in 2 or 3 quick sips, often while exchanging a few words with the barista. Then, a coin is left on the counter, and the person is gone. It is not a social gathering but a moment of functional refueling, a quick, sharp jolt of caffeine and conversation that powers the city through its day, one small cup at a time. Around the busy Rocio Square, tucked into tiny storefronts that are often no bigger than a hallway, are the city's dedicated ginginha bars. Some of these establishments have been there for over a century, and the ritual they offer is simple and swift. You step up to the wooden counter, where the only thing on offer is ginger, a sweet and potent liqueur made from sour cherries. The bartender will ask if you want it comela or semela, with or without a single alcohol-soaked cherry at the bottom of the glass. You are poured a small shot, you pay your euro, and you drink it right there at the counter. It's a quick, sticky, sweet and sour pause in the day, a little taste of tradition that brings a warm glow, beloved by locals and discovered with delight by visitors. While you can find fado music being played for tourists all over Lisbon, to experience it authentically, you must be patient. You go to a small restaurant, A Leotasca, in the old neighborhood of Alfama, where you have dinner, drink wine and wait. The real fado only begins late at night, after the dinner plates have been cleared. There is no grand announcement. The owner simply walks to the door and closes it. The lights are dimmed, and a hush falls over the small, crowded room, as all conversation ceases. A guitarist begins to play a soft, intricate melody, and then, a single voice, filled with emotion and saudade, rises into the profound silence. For those few minutes, nothing else in the world exists. It is a moment of shared reverence, a collective holding of breath for a song that contains the city's very soul. In the month of June, the old neighborhoods of Lisbon are transformed for the Santos Populares, the festival of popular saints, with streets strung with colorful garlands and lanterns. The air becomes filled with a single unmistakable smell, the scent of grilled sardines, which is the official aroma of the Lisbon summer. All over the city, small charcoal grills are set up on the sidewalks, where fresh sardines, glistening with oil and coarse salt, are grilled to perfection. They are not served on a fancy plate. Tradition dictates they be served on a single thick slice of rustic bread, which soaks up the delicious oils and serves as an edible plate. You eat it with your hands, standing in the street amidst the music and the celebration. It is simple, delicious and utterly perfect. The street parties of the Santos Populares festival, the Carmo, are nights of joyful chaos, where the narrow streets of Alfama and Graca are packed with people dancing and celebrating until dawn. There is, however, another quieter part of this ritual, the morning after. If you walk through these same streets at sunrise, you will find a scene of profound quiet, the crowds having vanished completely. The only people here are the city's cleaning crews, with their brooms and hoses, and the cobblestones are littered with a colorful carpet of discarded plastic cups, paper napkins, and confetti. The air, which hours before was thick with smoke and music, is now cool and still. It is a silent, almost melancholy scene, the quiet aftermath of a night of collective joy. As the city resets itself, sweeping away the evidence of the party to prepare for a new day. One of the most defining rhythms of daily life in Lisbon's older neighborhoods is a simple, domestic act, the hanging of the laundry. In the narrow alleys of Alfama and Moraria, lines are strung between the windows of opposing buildings, and on any given day, these lines are filled with a colorful, fluttering tapestry of sheets, towels and clothes. This is not a performance for tourists, but a practical solution to a lack of space, a tradition born of necessity in these tightly packed communities. Yet it has become a living, breathing symbol of the city. This constant, colorful display is a visible sign that these historic districts are not just open-air museums. They are homes, places where life, in all its ordinary domestic detail, is lived out in the open, fluttering in the breeze for all to see. For visitors, the iconic Tram 28 offers a scenic tour through Lisbon's most picturesque neighborhoods, but for locals, it is simply their daily commute. They have a practiced, almost unconscious rhythm for navigating its crowded, swaying interior, which is often filled with tourists looking at maps. They know exactly where to stand to avoid being in the way, and they have mastered the art of leaning into the sharp turns and bracing for the sudden stops. They know the precise moment to hop on or off, often before the tram has even come to a complete halt. For them, the journey is not about the views but is a functional, if sometimes challenging, part of their daily routine. Watching a local navigate the Tram 28 is to see a small, everyday masterclass in urban living. The Bifana is, in many ways, Lisbon in a sandwich, simple, unpretentious and utterly delicious. It consists of thin slices of pork that have been marinated for hours, in a mixture of garlic, white wine and spices. The meat is then quickly fried, and stuffed into a simple, crusty bread roll, a papo seco. There is no lettuce, no tomato, no fancy sauce. The magic is all in the marinade. Every tasca or local tavern has its own secret recipe, often passed down through generations, and the quality of a neighborhood spot is frequently judged by the quality of its bifana. It is the city's quintessential fast food, a quick, cheap and satisfying meal that is a deep point of local pride. To eat a good bifana is to taste the true, everyday flavor of Lisbon. Lisbon is a city of hills, and hills inevitably mean views. The city has embraced this geographical fact by creating a network of official viewpoints, or miradoras, which function as the city's collective balconies, democratic spaces open to everyone. In the late afternoon, a quiet, unspoken ritual unfolds at these spots all over the city. As the sun begins to dip towards the horizon, people start to gather. Locals on their way home from work, young couples, groups of friends. They come to watch the light change over the rooftops, and to see the sky turn from blue to orange to pink. Often, there is a small kiosk nearby selling drinks. It is a simple, peaceful moment of collective appreciation for the beauty of the city, a shared pause to watch the day end, and the city lights begin to twinkle on. In the quiet residential streets of Lisbon, you might hear a strange and beautiful sound, a short, lilting melody played on a set of panpipes. This is not a street performer looking for coins, but the traditional call of the amolador, the traveling knife grinder. For centuries, these craftsmen have walked the city's neighborhoods, offering their services to sharpen knives and scissors. The unique tune is their way of announcing their presence, a form of sonic advertising that has been passed down through generations. The grinder himself is a picturesque sight, often pushing his sharpening wheel on a modified bicycle frame. It is a fading tradition, a sound that is heard less and less, but for now, it remains a cherished and gentle rhythm of neighborhood life, a melody from another time. On a match day, Lisbon's two massive football stadiums, the Estadio da Luz and the Estadio José Alvalade, are cauldrons of noise and passion, filled with tens of thousands of fans singing and chanting for 90 minutes. There is, however, another equally powerful moment in the life of a stadium: the quiet after the game. Hours after the final whistle has blown and the crowds have gone home, the powerful floodlights are often left on, brilliantly illuminating the completely empty stadium. The vast expanse of empty seats and the perfectly green, manicured pitch create a scene of profound silence. It is a cathedral of quiet, a space that feels charged with the energy and memory of the recent roar. It is the echo of passion, held in the stillness of the night. For generations, canned fish was a humble staple in Portugal, the food of sailors and fishermen, and a practical way to preserve the bounty of the sea. In modern Lisbon, however, the humble sardine tin has undergone a remarkable transformation. Canned fish, or conservas, has been elevated to a gourmet food, and the city is now home to specialty shops designed like jewel boxes or old-fashioned pharmacies. Their walls are lined, floor to ceiling, with hundreds of colorful, beautifully designed tins, the packaging itself a work of art with vintage-inspired graphics and bold colors. Inside you can find not just sardines, but tuna, mackerel, octopus and more, often preserved in high-quality olive oil, with piri-piri or herbs. The simple can has become a stylish, delicious souvenir, a small, edible piece of Portuguese design. As the night winds down in Lisbon and the bars begin to close, a final, beloved ritual often takes place: the search for pão com chorizo, or chorizo bread. In certain neighborhoods, there are small, unassuming bakeries that stay open late, catering to the after-hours crowd. The main attraction is this simple, savory snack, where a piece of spicy chorizo sausage is wrapped in soft bread dough and then baked in a searingly hot wood-fired oven. The fat from the chorizo melts into the bread, making it incredibly flavorful. People gather on the dark street outside the bakery, drawn by the warmth and the irresistible smell. Eating a hot, fresh pão com chorizo on a quiet street in the middle of the night is a perfect, comforting end to an evening out in Lisbon. For thousands of Lisbon residents, the daily commute does not involve a car, a bus or a train, but a boat. The ferry ride across the Tagus River, from the south bank into the city centre, is a fundamental rhythm of metropolitan life. Every morning and every evening, the Casilero ferries shuttle back and forth, a constant, steady presence on the water. This commute offers a unique and constantly shifting perspective of the city. On the morning journey, you watch the Lisbon skyline grow larger and more detailed as you approach, while in the evening, you watch the sun set behind the 25 de Abril bridge. The view changes with the weather, the seasons, and the time of day, making for a commute that is also a daily, panoramic spectacle, a moment of quiet contemplation on the water before the workday begins or ends. As autumn arrives in Lisbon, the air begins to change, growing cooler and carrying a new and wonderful smell. The scent of castanhas assadas, or roasted chestnuts. This is a sure sign that winter is on its way. In squares and on street corners all over the city, vendors set up their traditional roasting carts, scoring the chestnuts and roasting them over hot coals as the fragrant smoke drifts through the streets. The chestnuts are served piping hot, their shells blackened, and their insides soft and sweet, sold in simple paper cones that are perfect for warming your hands on a chilly day. This is a beloved seasonal ritual, a warm, simple pleasure that marks a change in the year. It is the city's defense against the cold, a small, edible fire to hold in your hands. The tradition of gathering at a miradoro to watch the sunset is as old as Lisbon's hills, but in recent years, a modern version of this ritual has emerged. The city's rooftops, once empty and unused, have been transformed into stylish rooftop bars, offering the same stunning views but with a new kind of atmosphere. This is the contemporary evolution of the traditional viewpoint culture, where the simple kiosk selling drinks has been replaced by a sophisticated bar serving well-made cocktails. The quiet contemplation is now often accompanied by a soundtrack of chill-out music. While it is a different vibe, the core of the ritual remains the same, finding a high place, gathering with friends, and watching the sun go down over the beautiful sprawling city. It is an old tradition, simply given a new, modern twist. During the Christmas season, the bakeries of Lisbon are filled with a special cake called Bolo Rei, or King Cake, and its presence is a non-negotiable part of the holiday. The cake itself is a ring of sweet, brioche-like bread, studded and decorated with brightly colored crystallized and dried fruits, which are meant to resemble the jewels on a king's crown. A small, dry fava bean is traditionally hidden inside the cake, and whoever gets the slice with the bean is supposed to buy the Bolo Rei the following year. Its arrival in the pastry shops is a clear signal that the Christmas season has begun, and for weeks, it is the centerpiece of family gatherings and office parties. It is a sweet, festive and essential rhythm of the Lisbon holiday season. To eat in Lisbon is to taste the history of a global empire, as the city's culinary identity is a map of its colonial past, a delicious atlas of flavors from around the world. In small, unassuming family-run restaurants, you can find the authentic rhythms of other continents. You can taste the complex, fragrant spice of a Goan curry, a legacy of Portugal's long presence in India. You can feel the fiery heat of Mozambican piri-piri chicken, a flavor that has been enthusiastically adopted as a national staple. You can find the comforting, hearty warmth of a Cape Verdean cachupa, a slow-cooked stew that tells a story of resilience. These dishes are not novelties. They are a deep and integral part of the city's food culture, a living, edible connection to the distant places that were once part of Portugal's world. The grand, tree-lined Avenida de Liberdade is Lisbon's most elegant boulevard, but its charm lies not just in its scale, but in its small details. Dotted along the wide, mosaic-paved sidewalks are a series of charming, historic kiosks. These small, ornate cast-iron structures, many in a distinctive dark green, have been beautifully restored after once serving as vendors of newspapers and tobacco. Today, they have been given a new life as delightful outdoor cafes, where locals and visitors alike can pause for a coffee or a cool drink under the shade of the trees. They serve traditional refreshing beverages like orzata, an almond-flavored drink, or capelé, a syrup-based cordial. These kiosks are small islands of tranquility, in the middle of the bustling city, a place to rest and watch the world go by. In many of Lisbon's traditional family-oriented neighborhoods, a quiet lull descends in the middle of the afternoon. It is not a formal, declared siesta like in Spain, but a more subtle, unspoken rhythm. Around 2 o'clock, after the lunch rush, the owners of small, independent shops will often pull down their metal shutters. The butcher, the grocer, the hardware store, they close for a couple of hours, allowing the owners to go home, have their own lunch, and rest. The streets become quieter, and the pace of life slows to a gentle crawl. Then, around 4 or 5 o'clock, the shutters go up again, and business resumes until the evening. It is a soft, civilized rhythm of work and rest, a small-town habit that persists in the heart of the big city. The beautiful black and white mosaic sidewalks of Lisbon, the Calçada Portuguesa, are one of the city's most iconic features, but they are not mass-produced tiles. They are the result of a painstaking and ancient craft, which is still practiced today by skilled artisans known as caltateiros. You can sometimes hear them before you see them, as the rhythmic sound of their small hammers tapping on stone is a sound that has shaped the city's ground floor for centuries. They work on their knees, skillfully chipping small, irregular cubes of black basalt and white limestone, and then fitting them together into intricate, wave-like patterns or complex geometric designs. It is slow, difficult work, and each sidewalk is a handmade work of art, a testament to a living tradition that is literally underfoot. Lisbon is a city passionately divided, but the dividing line is not political or geographical, it is sporting. you are either for Benfica, whose colors are red, or for Sporting, whose colors are green, and this rivalry is a core part of the city's identity. On match day, this division becomes visible, with neighborhoods draped in flags and scarves. The city's thousands of cafes and pastelarias become unofficial stadiums, where the usual quiet rhythm of coffee and conversation is replaced by loud, passionate debate, cheers, and groans. Groups of men huddle around small television sets, their faces illuminated by the green of the pitch. The game is not just a game, it is a ritual, a source of communal joy and despair, a conversation that never really ends. The city's heart beats in red and green. The Feira de Ladra, Lisbon's most famous flea market, is not a place for quick, efficient shopping. The rhythm here is one of slow, patient discovery. Twice a week, a sprawling, chaotic collection of items appears near the National Pantheon, where vendors lay out their wares on blankets on the ground. Old books, single ceramic tiles, vintage postcards, strange brass objects, forgotten tools. To find a treasure, you must be willing to browse, to sift, and to look closely. The real ritual is not just the buying, but the looking. And if you do find something, there is the quiet, polite dance of haggling, a conversation and negotiation that is as much a part of the tradition as the market itself. It's a place to wander through piles of other people's history, hoping to find a small piece to take home. On a sunny Sunday afternoon, a gentle communal rhythm takes over Lisbon's parks. In beautiful green spaces like the Jardim da Estrela, the city exhales, the week's work is done, and there is nothing to do but be. Families spread out blankets on the grass, friends gather on benches to talk, and individuals find a quiet patch of shade to read a book, or simply watch the world go by. There is a soft murmur of conversation, the laughter of children, and the sound of a distant ball game. It is a shared, unspoken agreement to enjoy the simple pleasure of a free afternoon. It is a quiet, public form of rest, a moment when the entire city seems to slow down and take a collective, peaceful breath in its green and pleasant gardens. In a quiet corner of Praça da Figueira, there is a hospital where the patients are not made of flesh and blood. This is the Hospital de Bonecas, the doll hospital, and it has been in continuous operation since 1830. It is both a workshop and a museum, dedicated to the meticulous repair of broken dolls. Generations of surgeons, in white coats, have worked here, mending cracked porcelain heads and reattaching lost limbs. The back rooms are a fascinating and slightly eerie sight, filled with drawers and boxes meticulously labeled with spare parts, tiny glass eyes of every color, small hands in various gestures, and bald heads with painted smiles. It is a place where childhood treasures are given a second life, a unique and enduring institution built on the love for a favorite toy. Lisbon's largest and most magnificent cemetery bears the curious name Cemitério dos Prazeres, which in English translates to the Cemetery of Pleasures. This strange and seemingly inappropriate name often causes confusion, but it is not a reflection of some morbid local humor. The explanation is much more straightforward. The cemetery was built in the 19th century on land that was, at the time, on the outskirts of the city. This area was known as the Farm of Pleasures, a place for leisure and festivities where people went to enjoy themselves. When the land was repurposed for a necropolis, it simply kept the name of the neighborhood. The name is a geographical quirk, a holdover from a time when this land of grand mausoleums was a place of simple, earthly fun. As you wander the ancient grounds of São Jorge Castle, you will encounter the usual pigeons and tourists, but also a more exotic and surprising resident. The castle is home to a large, semi-wild colony of peacocks that strut along the medieval walls, their brilliant blue and green feathers a startling contrast to the old grey stone. They seem to own the place, calmly ignoring the visitors who photograph them. The most surprising thing about them, however, is their sound. A peacock's call is not a gentle chirp, but a loud, piercing, almost human-like cry that sounds like meow. This strange, haunting sound echoes across the castle grounds and drifts down into the historic Alfama district below, an unexpected and slightly bizarre soundtrack to the city's oldest fortress. In the heart of the Chiado district stands the Bertrand bookstore, which, while appearing to be a classic, elegant bookshop, holds a remarkable record. Founded in 1732, it is officially recognized by Guinness World Records as the oldest operating bookstore in the world. Its history is intertwined with the city's own. It was already a thriving literary hub when the Great Earthquake of 1755 struck. Although the original building was destroyed, the business quickly found a new location and reopened, a testament to the resilience of both the city and the written word. For almost 3 centuries, it has been a gathering place for writers, intellectuals, and book lovers. To step inside is to enter a space that has weathered revolutions, dictatorships, and natural disasters. Its quiet, book-lined rooms, a constant in a changing world. The Grand Arch at the end of Rua Augusta serves as a triumphal gateway to the city, crowned by a massive sculpture group. The original plan for this prominent spot was to honor a specific person, the Marquis of Pombal, the man who rebuilt Lisbon after the earthquake. A model was made, and the sculpture commissioned, but at the last minute, politics intervened. Pombal had made many enemies during his time in power, and a controversy erupted, causing the plan to put his statue on the arch to be scrapped. A new, less controversial subject was needed quickly. So the figure of Pombaliaco was replaced with a generic allegorical representation of glory, crowning, genius, and vire. It is a grand and impressive sculpture, but it is also a monument to a political compromise, a last-minute substitution, hiding in plain sight. If you step inside the Farmacia Andrade, one of Lisbon's oldest and most beautiful pharmacies, you will find a stunning example of 19th century design, with carved wood cabinets and painted ceilings. Mounted on one of the walls, however, is a strange and remarkable object, a long, white, spiral tusk, several feet in length, labeled as a unicorn horn. This is, of course, the tusk of a narwhal, the Arctic whale, but it is a relic from a time when such objects were highly prized, and sold for their supposed magical healing properties. It was believed that powder, scraped from a unicorn horn, could cure diseases, and neutralize poison. The horn is a fascinating reminder of a time when medicine and magic were not so far apart, a piece of folklore, displayed in a place of science. The National Pantheon is a space of immense scale and solemnity, its vast white interior capped by a huge soaring dome. This dome creates a remarkable and surprising acoustic effect, as the space is so large and the surface is so hard, that it produces a powerful, lingering echo. A single sharp handclap in the center of the room will not just produce a single echo, it will reverberate for several seconds, the sound bouncing around the vast space, seeming to multiply, and then slowly fade away. It is a simple, almost childlike discovery to make in such a grand and serious place, but it has become an obligatory ritual for visitors. You will see people walk to the center of the floor, pause, and then clap once, their faces turned upwards, waiting for the dome to answer them with its long, cascading reply. The very first movie ever filmed in Portugal was made in 1896 by a pioneer of the new art form named Aurelio de Paz dos Reis, who chose a truly spectacular and bizarre location for one of his early films. He took his camera and a troupe of dancers to the top of the Aguas Livre Aqueduct. The resulting short film, now sadly lost, featured a group of women performing the can-can on the stone walkway high above the valley. It is a wonderfully strange image to imagine. The frivolous, high-kicking Parisian dance, a symbol of modern entertainment, being performed on top of a monumental 18th-century piece of infrastructure. It was a bizarrely cheerful and modern scene, set against one of the city's most ancient and enduring symbols of resilience. In the beautiful gardens of the 17th-century Frontera Palace, amidst the ponds, statues, and stunning tile panels, you will also find a ruin. There is a small stone tower, and a section of wall that look ancient and crumbling, covered in ivy and appearing as if they are about to collapse. These, however, are not real ruins. They were intentionally built this way. In the 17th and 18th centuries, it was a fashionable trend in landscape gardening to include follies, small, decorative buildings with no real purpose. One of the most popular types of folly was a fake ruin, designed to evoke a sense of romantic melancholy and a nostalgia for a classical past. The crumbling tower at Frontera is a perfect example, a piece of architectural fantasy, a carefully constructed piece of decay in a perfectly manicured garden. The official symbol of the city of Lisbon is a strange and specific image. A ship with two ravens, one on the prow and the other on the stern. This symbol originates from the legend of the city's patron saint, Saint Vincent. After he was martyred in the 4th century, his body was said to have been guarded by ravens. When his remains were eventually brought to Lisbon by ship in the 12th century, the legend says that two ravens accompanied the vessel on its journey. This story became so central to the city's identity that for centuries, the city of Lisbon officially kept and cared for a pair of ravens. They were housed in a cage at the Sé Cathedral, a living link to the city's founding myth. The ravens are gone now, but their image is everywhere. King Carlos I of Portugal, who reigned at the turn of the 20th century, was a man of many passions, including being a keen sportsman, a forward-thinking ruler, and, most unusually, a serious and accomplished artist. His great love was the sea, and he spent countless hours on his yacht, not just for leisure, but to paint. He became a dedicated marine painter, obsessed with capturing the changing light on the water, the power of the waves, and the hard lives of the fishermen near the coastal town of Cascais. This was not just a royal hobby. He was a talented painter who exhibited his work and was respected in artistic circles. Today, his paintings hang in national museums, alongside the works of other great Portuguese artists. He is remembered not just as a king, but as a king who painted the sea. For the first few decades of the automobile age, traffic in Portugal drove on the left side of the road, following the British custom. In the 1920s, however, a decision was made to align with the rest of continental Europe, and the country prepared to switch to driving on the right. This change did not happen gradually, but all at once, overnight. On a single day, June 1, 1928, the entire country made the switch. It was a massive logistical undertaking that required road signs to be changed, tram lines to be reconfigured, and an entire population of drivers to unlearn a fundamental habit. One can only imagine the confusion on the streets of Lisbon that morning, as drivers cautiously navigated a city that had been mirror-flipped while they slept. It was a moment of profound coordinated change that permanently altered the daily flow of the city. The Money Museum in Lisbon is housed in a surprising location. A beautiful, deconsecrated 18th century church. The building, however, holds more than just one layer of history. In the basement of the museum, a section of the city's original 14th century medieval wall has been excavated and preserved, allowing you to stand in the modern museum and look at the ancient stones that once protected the city. Then there is the most tantalizing exhibit, a real 12.5 kilogram bar of solid gold, displayed in a thick glass case. A small circular hole has been cut into the glass, just big enough for you to reach in and touch the bar, to feel the surprising density and coolness of so much wealth. It's a unique opportunity to see and touch three different layers of value: religious, historical, and monetary, all in one place. In the bica district, among the tiled facades and elegant shopfronts, there is a piece of advertising that is both unique and slightly unsettling. Above the door of an ordinary-looking building hangs a giant carved stone tooth, a molar, complete with its roots, rendered in weathered grey stone. This is the sign for a dentist's office. There is no name, no list of services, just this single, oversized tooth. It is a relic from a time before neon signs and digital marketing, a piece of vintage advertising that is simple, direct, and impossible to ignore. It is a strange and memorable landmark, a small piece of urban quirkiness that can make you smile, and perhaps check if you have anything stuck in your own teeth. Many of Lisbon's street names have stories, but the legend of Rua do Alecrim, or Rosemary Street, is particularly charming. The story goes that the street was named after a bet between two merchants who had shops there. They were both expecting ships to arrive with valuable cargo, and made a wager. Whoever's ship arrived in port first would get to name the street. One ship was carrying spices from the east, while the other was carrying a fragrant cargo of rosemary from the south. The rosemary ship won the race, and so the victorious merchant named the street after his fragrant and profitable cargo. Whether the story is true or not, it has stuck, and it's a lovely thought that a major city street might be named not for a king or a battle, but for a simple herb and a friendly wager. In the tightly packed neighborhood of Alfama, where buildings are constructed right up against each other, you can find a permanent record of a long-forgotten argument. It is a spite window. From the inside of one house, there is a window that looks out onto nothing but the solid stone wall of the neighboring house, just inches from the glass. The story is that the second house was built deliberately to block the first house's window and its view, an act of architectural revenge to settle a score with a neighbor. The feud itself is lost to time. We don't know who the neighbors were or what they were fighting about. All that remains is this strange, useless window, a permanent, physical monument to a moment of human pettiness, preserved in stone for centuries. The impossibly steep street that the famous bica funicular travels up and down has an official name. If you look for the street sign, you will see that it is called Rua da Bica de Duarte Belo. If you ask a local for directions to this street, however, you will likely be met with a blank stare, because no one calls it that. The street is so completely defined by the unique form of transport that runs on it, that it has effectively lost its own name. Everyone, from locals to tourists to city officials, simply calls the street Elevador da Bica, or the Bica lift. The vehicle has become the place. It is a rare case where a piece of moving infrastructure has completely overshadowed the static space it occupies, a testament to the funicular's iconic and overwhelming presence. Rocio Square is one of Lisbon's grandest public spaces, a formal, neoclassical square, with two Baroque fountains, a tall central column, and a beautiful wave-patterned mosaic pavement. For many years, right in the middle of all this European formality, there was a strange and beloved oddity: a single, tall palm tree. It was a tropical anomaly, in a perfectly symmetrical, classical setting. No one is quite sure how it got there, but it became a cherished, if slightly comical, landmark. It was the one thing that was out of place, the one touch of wildness in a highly structured environment. The tree eventually died, and was removed, and the square returned to its formal perfection. But old photographs and memories remain of the time when a lone palm tree stood, stubbornly and beautifully, where it didn't belong. What does a city smell like? In 2014, Lisbon decided to find out, commissioning a perfumer to create an official scent for the city. The challenge was to capture the complex essence of Lisbon in a bottle. The resulting fragrance, called Agua de Luso, was designed to evoke a very specific set of sensory memories. The perfumer blended the green, earthy smell of basil from the pots that lined the streets during the June festivals. To this he added a sharp, salty note, meant to represent the sea salt from the Tagus estuary. And finally, a clean, mineral scent, the smell of rain on the city's cobblestones, a fragrance known as petrichor. It is a poetic attempt to capture the city's soul, not in words or images, but in a scent that is both fresh and deeply nostalgic. Until the late 20th century, a common and poignant sight in Rossier Square was the escrivaninha, or the public letter writer. These were men, often elderly, who would set up small, portable desks in the square, and, for a small fee, provide a vital service to the city's illiterate population. They would listen patiently to personal stories, business proposals, and declarations of love, and then transcribe them into beautifully written letters. They were the keepers of secrets, the conduits of emotion for those who could not write for themselves, a profession that required not just good handwriting, but empathy and discretion. With rising literacy rates, the profession slowly died out. The small desks are gone from the square, a silent testament to a world that has been lost to time. The Campo Grande Garden is one of Lisbon's largest urban parks, a place of sprawling lawns and a large lake, which also contains a piece of public art that is wonderfully whimsical. In the middle of a pond, there is a fountain that features a group of large green frogs. They are not realistic frogs, but cartoonish, bright green sculptures, sitting on lily pads, some of them just sitting, while others are positioned to spit streams of water into the pond. It is an unexpected and playful detail in the otherwise stately park. The frog fountain is a favorite with children, a small touch of humor and fantasy in the middle of the city. It's a reminder that even in a grand historic capital, there is still room for a little bit of silliness. Lisbon's main flea market, the Feira da Ladra, is a beloved institution, a place to find antiques, crafts, and all manner of second-hand goods. The name, however, has a slightly more sinister origin, as Feira de Ladra literally translates to thieves' market. This name is a holdover from the market's medieval origins, when it was rumored to be a place where stolen goods were regularly bought and sold, a place where you could perhaps buy back the items that were stolen from your own home a few days earlier. Today the market is entirely legitimate, a regulated and respectable place to do business, but the old evocative name has stuck. It remains a playful nod to the market's more colorful and dubious past, a hint of larceny in the air as you haggle over the price of an old teapot. The Lisbon Oceanarium is one of the world's great aquariums, a stunning modern building that seems to float in a basin of water. Its design is not accidental. The building was intentionally constructed to look like an aircraft carrier moored at a pier. This unusual design is a direct nod to the theme of the 1998 World Exposition for which it was built: the oceans, a heritage for the future. The naval, exploratory theme is clear, but it also references the site's own history, as the entire Expo 98 site was built on a former industrial waterfront, a place of docks and shipping. The Oceanarium's design cleverly links the area's maritime past with its new, forward-looking purpose. It is a building that looks like it is ready to set sail, carrying its precious cargo of marine life into the future. The Church of São Roque is a study in paradox. Its exterior is plain and unassuming, but its interior is one of the most lavishly decorated in Lisbon. One of its chapels, the Chapel of St. John the Baptist, is a masterpiece of gold, silver and precious stones. Right at the entrance to this incredibly opulent space, however, there is a macabre and sobering detail on the floor, a mosaic of a human skeleton, laid out as if in a coffin. This is a sur, memento mori, a Latin phrase that means, remember you must die. It was a common artistic theme, designed to remind people of their mortality, even in the midst of great wealth and beauty. It is a powerful and jarring detail, a reminder of the ultimate equalizer, placed at the threshold of a space dedicated to the glories of heaven. From across the river in Lisbon, the Cristo Rei statue is a powerful and distant religious symbol, standing with its arms outstretched as a silent guardian watching over the city. The statue, however, is more than just a monument to be viewed from afar, it is also a destination. Hidden within its massive pedestal is an elevator that takes visitors on a journey up through the heart of the structure, to a viewing platform located at the very feet of the giant Christ figure. To step out onto this platform is to be greeted with one of the most complete and breathtaking panoramic views of Lisbon. The entire city is laid out before you, with the 25 de Abril bridge stretching across the water, and the 7 hills rolling into the distance. It is a moment where a religious monument becomes a spectacular secular viewpoint. Our walk through Lisbon is coming to an end. Wherever you've drifted to, you don't need to come back. There's nothing more to listen for tonight. Sleep well.